Hello listeners everywhere. Welcome to the Archive of Audio Antiquities, a voyage into the vault of wonders on the wireless. In a moment, Simon Exton and Ken Moss will be here to speak to you.
Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the Archive of Audio Antiquities. I'm Ken Moss.
Hello, I'm Simon Exton.
And this month we're listening to the Big Finish Doctor Who adventure, Jubilee. Hurrah! The deadly Daleks are back. And when those pesky pepper pots are in town, there's one thing you can be sure of. There will be non-stop high-octane mayhem in store, and plenty of exterminations. But never fear, the Doctor is on hand to sort them out. Defender of the Earth, saviour of us all, with his beautiful assistant Evelyn Smythe by his side, he will fight once again to uphold the beliefs of the English Empire. All hail the glorious English Empire! Now that sounds like a Jubilee worth celebrating, does it not? First published in 2003, this was a 4-part story written by Robert Sherman and starring Colin Baker as the 6th Doctor, with Maggie Stables as Evelyn Smythe.
You must get some rest, Miriam. It's a long day tomorrow.
Yes, a long, glorious day. A long, glorious, exciting, wonderful, marvellous...
Miriam, that is enough.
Doctor, I can't believe you just said that.
Oh, did I put my foot in it again?
What's that?
We can play with you gently or play with you until you break. You have no right to pride.
Well, the TARDIS doesn't seem to agree with you. She's trying to move again.
What's wrong?
Well, she can't. For some reason, she's stuck here.
Stay where you are, Evelyn Smythe.
Like it or not, you will be my ally.
Doctor, the doors. They can't decide whether to stay open or closed.
Get out, Evelyn!
Good friends, you and I.
You are my prisoner.
Sleep tight. Take care of the Daleks. Stand by.
Dr. Exton, this was one of your suggestions. Why?
Because I remember really enjoying it at the time.
I don't think it was an unfair memory. Bloody good, this one. Now, the question I must ask, has your opinion changed over time?
It is good, and I enjoyed it.
Oh dear, where's this going?
The big problem is that you get to the end, and basically the explanation was, it was all a dream.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sort of.
No, not sort of. That is the explanation. They might wrap it up in a little tiny tinsel of technobabble, but that is the explanation.
Bollocks. I can't refute that. We have, in a previous episode of the Exton Moss experiment, really ripped a beloved classic apart for employing this trick.
Yes, you did.
See also The Box of Delights.
I don't actually, if it's done well, have a massive problem with it's all a dream as an explanation because, you know, I like The Matrix and that's what's going on in The Matrix. But in writing terms, it's a lazy way of getting out of it, painting yourself into a very tight corner.
Having skewered the ending, should we go back to the beginning and explain the plot of this thing? The 6th Doctor and Evelyn are on their travels, landing in 1903 for a fresh new adventure. Turns out there's an alternate 1903, catapult forward 100 years to 2003, when we've had 100 years of English rule. Basically, what Britain would look like under an English empire, and indeed the world. In the Tower of London, they've got the last remaining Dalek, which they want to exterminate the day after as part of the Jubilee celebrations, and they're trying to get it to talk. It was reworked for the 2005 Christopher Eccleston venture, Dalek.
Which it's pretty much unrecognisable.
It is, I have to say, it's a bit like Spare Parts, which apparently was rewritten for the year after for Age of Steel. It takes the basic tenets of The Last Dalek in a cell, with the Doctor going to interview it to prove that he's the Doctor. Hilarity ensues.
Yeah, but crops out any of the alternate timeline stuff, crops out any of the really insane bloke in charge, completely crops out the interaction with his minions and his wife. I think if you weren't told that Dalek was a reworking of Jubilee, you would never know.
No, you wouldn't. And I've always found it a little bit of a stretch to see Dalek as a remake of this, because it's beyond the Dalek in the cell. There's nothing else. However, there's some really, really good scenes in this. I do like all the... it's really psychology that runs through this play. Written by Rob Sherman, a very, very good writer. And he throws in concepts in there, and I hesitate to get all wanky about this, but sort of self-examination and introspection and characters having to examine themselves. But it's done really well, and it leads to some brilliant conversations. Notably, the Dalek, this lone damaged Dalek with no weapon, completely turning the tables on his jailers and getting them to highlight their flaws effortlessly. There's one captain who wants to become powerful, and he asks the Dalek to teach him how to become powerful. And the Dalek says, well, cut your subordinate's head off, and he can't do it. The subordinate then turns around and kills his captain, and it's all mental, but there's some great stuff from Evelyn, who she strides through the adventure as the eyes of the audience, really, the observer, and points out all the obvious flaws in everybody's plan. Evelyn Smythe as her companion. It was a stroke of genius, that, getting her as the Sixth Doctor. I don't think she would have worked as well with any other Doctor.
Oh.
Go on.
Pertwee and Evelyn would have worked brilliantly together.
Okay, with the Big Finish Doctors. I will go with that, actually. Yeah, there would have been a lot of antagonism between them, but probably a lot of affection as well.
Capaldi.
Again, pity he's not a Big Finish Doctor, but yes.
Particularly that whole year when he is an academic, you can just see the two of them sharing an office together.
Yeah. Just trying to think whether it would work well with Matt Smith. I think there might have been potential there. It might have been a little bit too matron and student.
Yeah, a bit young and bouncy.
Yeah. But no, as a companion, I've always advocated an older companion, particularly an older woman companion. And I think that even though she's only 55, and they did, by their own admission, overplay 55 as being older than it really is, I still think it works amazingly well. She does have a cracking line. At some point, she rounds on this Dalek and asks it what exactly it's trying to get her to say.
Why didn't you kill me? Why save my life?
I do not know. Silence!
You have no conscience, no pity? Why do you care if I live or die?
Silence! Stop asking questions or I shall exterminate you!
You'll kill me because I ask why you won't kill me? What is the matter with you?
It is well written, and it is very enjoyable. It was all a dream ending.
I will give you that, but it is well done.
It really stood out this time around much more than it did previously. I didn't really pick up on it when I first listened. The sparking off each other of Martin Jarvis and Mrs. Martin Jarvis.
Rosalind Ayres.
They are brilliant together. With one exception, I can't remember seeing them working together before, although I'm sure they must have done. Was it an episode of The Young Ones?
I don't really know The Young Ones. They've done quite a bit of stuff together.
I think it's a Young Ones bit where they're doing their whole very cutesy sitcom and everything goes wrong, and in the end they get machine gunned or something, and they go, oh, aren't we silly? We were in the wrong kind of sitcom. I mean, I'm making it sound shit. It's actually really funny. But The Young Ones is one of those things where trying to describe it destroys any kind of humour it has. But I think they sparked off each other brilliantly.
The one thing that struck me this time around, I'm amazed I didn't really spot it when I first listened to it all those years ago. There's huge emphasis made on this fella in the wheelchair. up in the tower that everyone's a bit afraid of. And it's clearly trying to wrong-foot the audience that it's Davros.
Yeah.
For some bizarre reason, I never spotted that on first listen.
The thing that I did spot on second listen is that there isn't a huge difference between Colin Baker's two portrayals of the Doctor.
Forgive me for not getting up to greet you, but you see, they've cut off my legs.
Just stumps. Why? Why did they do this to you?
Oh, it was my own fault. They told me if I kept trying to escape, they'd be forced to do something drastic.
It's monstrous.
Oh, you mustn't blame them. They did it with anaesthetic and everything. I didn't feel a thing. And they've told me if I cooperate, they'll stick them back on again.
No, not massively. The insane version of the Doctor with his legs cut off that's been trapped in the tower for 100 years, you would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, and watched Evelyn starve to death and all of that. You would have expected him to be more obviously insane than that.
Yeah.
And Colin Baker could do that. He has the acting chops and the range to be able to do that. So this is a directorial choice rather than a lack of acting range. But I don't think there was a big difference between the two performances.
But there were some quite poignant scenes. The story ends by, again, Evelyn asking, I think it's Evelyn. Anyway, it's either Evelyn or the Doctor. What happens when the Daleks have defeated everything and conquered everything? What do you do then? Apart from turn on yourself. And it's a question, it's an obvious question that's never been asked.
Possibly because any time we've seen the Daleks before, they don't win.
That is true, but the ultimate aim is to win, and nobody's ever asked them, what happens if you do actually rule the universe? What do you do then?
Unlimited rice pudding.
Believe me, really believe me. I have had such history with the Daleks. I know them better than anyone.
Then maybe it's as you said to me in the TARDIS, that history is just a version of the past you choose to remember.
Yeah, I did enjoy this. I enjoyed this an awful lot. And, this is a long play. It's 4 parts, and each part, it's got to be over half an hour long. I didn't time it.
There are chunks of them that are 35 minutes easily. And this is a real bugbear of mine. If you are basing your script on classic Doctor Who, the episode length for classic Doctor Who is 25 minutes. This should have had 25-minute episodes. And if you need to go to 5 parts, go to 5 parts. But don't drag ones out to 35, 40 minutes or whatever.
I've always agreed with you on this, and it's always been a feeling of mine. Going back to Spectre of Lanyon Moor. Now, I remember part 1 of Spectre and Lanyon Moor was a good 45 minutes long. And it felt it because it was so blindingly uneven. And ever since then, I've thought, well, no, really. If it's 25 minutes, it's 25 minutes. Half an hour, really, for any sort of drama is a sweet spot. But Doctor Who's always been 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you that, if it can't be trimmed down to that, bit of discipline and tightening these things right up, that would not be a bad thing.
And it's tempting to say, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. I think it does make a difference.
It does. If you're trying to emulate something, emulate it properly.
Yes.
Don't do half a job.
Yeah, I expect my Doctor Who to be 25 minutes, so it should be 25 minutes, damn it.
By God, sir, this is the English Empire. What the hell do you think you're doing? This 40 minutes of I don't know. Back to Russia.
I really like the toy Daleks with the dwarfs in. I thought that was a really nice touch of very dark whimsy.
I've never quite understood, though, how cutting somebody's hand off allows them to fit inside a Dalek, but I'll let it slide. It's a nice moment of horror.
Oh, I assumed it was the whole arm from the shoulder.
Oh, they only mentioned the hand. The arm would make more sense, yes. Let's rate this little horror in earworms.
This is the song that never ends. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends.
Bottom line, this is one of Big Finish's best. Whatever holes we can pick in it, I think it's a really good slice of audio drama. I'm giving it a good solid 9.
Okay, I don't think it is one of their absolute best, but I do think it's extremely good. For all I've picked holes in the It Was All a Dream, etc., 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 I did really enjoy it. For me, it's an 8.
Still very respectable.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is an 8 comparing it to Cabin Pressure or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or, spoilers, darling, or the Fearmonger Ectoplasm, all of the things that I've absolutely raved about.
And they'll continue singing it forever just because.
It's time for Podcast of the Week. Dr. Exum, what are we listening to?
Well, I'm, again, as I did last week, I am veering away from our standard format. Still going to recommend a podcast, but I'm not going to recommend a Doctor Who podcast because I'm kind of running out of them. So I'm going to recommend a wonderfully entertaining film review podcast called Verbal Diorama. It's a single-handed podcast. She reviews films, got an absolute earworm of a theme tune, and she just has really interesting things to say about a whole variety of different films. Been going for ages, lots and lots to listen to, highly recommended.
Next month, we are in very familiar territory. We are going all the way back to 1978. It's The Hitchhiker's Guide, the primary phase. Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, I love this. I absolutely love this. Not quite as much as I love the books.
And not quite as much as I love the TV series. But this is pretty much where my love affair with audio drama and radio drama started. So there's going to be a bit of gushing from this side of the microphone next time.
And spoilers, sweetie. Yeah, this side as well, because I think it's marvellous.
Until next month, thank you as ever for paying us a visit. We'll be back soon. Ta-ta.
Bye now.
The Archive of Audio Antiquities featured Simon Exton and Ken Moss, and the announcer was Jenny at Blue Box 99. All featured soundtracks are the property of their respective producers, and no infringement of copyright is intended. Title music was by Edward White, and the programme was produced by Maverick Productions. For more information, please visit maverickproductionsuk.blogspot.com or find us on social media.